Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. I am Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on this beautiful Friday morning in the Great Plains and Greater Southwest. Joined, as I always am, by my partner and ruler of the airwaves, Mr. Jeremy Schroeder, coming to me live from Normantown. And we talked last week about the new development that's being planned for the town of Norman and a new arena site possibly. And then now also the man bun wearing mayor of Norman is also trying to institute a plan with the Stillwater mayor to bring back Bedlam.
Yeah, that I think the former bouncer of the deli probably should go back to work there. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, make it let the universities work it out, make it work.
Yeah.
Don't get these local politicians involved.
You would think we had everything under wraps with regards to government and budgets and global security and prices, but no, we've got legislators that want to force colleges to do things. We got judges that are having to hear cases about eligibility, and then we've also got and we'll get into the whole Trinidad Chambliss thing here in a little bit, but also we've got a legislator that's trying to do away with the governing body of Oklahoma secondary sports, the OSSAA. There's going to be legislation to do away with them and implement a new system.
Yeah, these are wild times, Chuck.
That's what they were elected to do, Jeremy.
I get it. You know, I hold a grudge against the OSAA for vacating my ninth grade football team's undefeated season because we had a player who moved into district and was apparently ineligible.
Bastards.
Sons of bitches.
We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter X, and we want to hear your comments today. A whole lot to get to. It's going to be fun, Jeremy, as at the 9:30 mark, we will be visiting with John Moore from the DLLS Rangers Weekly podcast. He's a friend of the program going all the way back to our KSEY days. And, man, they do such a great job covering the Rangers, so we'll preview of that. And then probably for next week, since actual spring training games begin a week from now, I'll probably reach out to Newt Huntley from Sooner Baseball Report and see if we can't get a lowdown. You and him can
chat about how bad the Cubs are going to be this year. I can't wait. We'll talk about finding nice girls at the library and all things Mark Grace.
That's right. So anyway, baseball season is upon us. I think OU gets their season started in Arlington in just a couple of hours, taking on Texas Tech down there. So that'll be a fun one as well. And then just so much going on, Jeremy. We'll get into the OU coaching changes here in just a little bit. Also, the Trinidad Chambliss injunction allowing him to be eligible immediately from a judge in the courtroom in Mississippi. And then also NFL Combine invites were released. Just so much to get into. But first off, I want to mention, and I promised our superfan Connor Carr and our good friend that I would make his day today. I'm sure he's researched it after I tipped my hand on the Law Dog text thread. But anyways, today or earlier today, Aaron Torres put on his daily report that Arkansas basketball can expect a commitment today from 5-star plus 6'2" guard Jordan Smith Jr. out of Virginia, who's considered the number 3 overall prospect. So you're talking about a team that's already been just guided by 2 huge freshman recruits, and then now they'll add another one. So Calipari doing his thing. If he can get some of those players to stay more than 1 year, they could be really becoming a factor in the overall landscape.
Yeah, you got to get that Tyson chicken money. and while we're talking about that, the kid from that is playing at KU, who's probably going to be he's going to be a top 5 pick in a very loaded draft this year.
Talking about Darren Peterson.
Yeah. Sorry, the name escaped me.
One that doesn't play.
He just refuses to play.
Yeah,
he's a one and done. Is that where this is going to go?
I mean,
Jack, are we going to have load management at the college level?
Thing is I read it. I saw an article that said Bill Self saying, we're not going to We're not going to worry about his availability or his playing time or anything like that. But I would cut bait. You beat the number one team at Fog Allen Monday night,
and he didn't play.
and he didn't play, and
Yeah.
your guys got out there and really got after it. And I'll tell you something, Jeremy, that's the first big Monday I've had any excitement for in a long time.
Being an Oklahoma fan and the Kansas Fog Allen Fieldhouse PTSD that I own,
Yeah.
I know that Bill Self has never lost at the Fog on Big Monday. So it was pointless for me even turn it on because I knew how it was going to go.
Oh, but it was a good one.
I mean, Busso was happy, but he was calling upset. I'm like, man, it's the Fog on Big Monday. They just don't lose.
I wasn't ready to call it an upset, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's I mean, probably the toughest one I can think of was the Buddy Hield 40-point night that he had there in
46
overtime.
points. Man, he was awesome.
Yeah. And it's just those games. It's like Michael Myers and Halloween. You think they're dead, and then they just, they cut you right there.
The guy in the striped shirt's going to call a questionable foul when it's a tight game, and KU's going to get 2 shots in possession. Yeah, there we go.
But so, anyways, Connor Carr should be rejoicing. It's not official, but On3 had the crystal ball prediction of Jordan Smith Jr., 5-star plus, number 3 overall, going to the Hogs and Calipari. Man, that guy can sell. I mean,
Well, he's got track record, Chuck. I mean, he's had great players in the past. He's managed one and dones. He's in a good spot for it. And, Arkansas, they apparently the people that hold the NIL purse strings really care about college basketball.
Hey,
and you think about it, it's a smaller roster. They don't have to put as much money into it, but they can put a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
Not like you're paying a 85-man college football roster. So, Arkansas is a great spot for it. Calipari's a great coach. I mean, he's just been awesome for a long time. And good for Arkansas.
Yeah.
Those fans have been through so much with just the disaster the football program's been. We have a great baseball team, but we're not going to win anything because something weird's going to happen.
Well, because LSU's in the system, I mean.
Oh yeah, but you have the Bermuda Triangle and let a foul ball drop, and the guy taters one off the freaking stands the next pitch. They just they've been snake bit in their major sports. So, good on them.
Well, big matchup coming up this weekend in SEC basketball as Florida and Kentucky will square off. And then tonight, Dan Narva checking in from Michigan says, "Happy Friday, guys." Happy Friday to you. He'll have some viewing material tonight as the number 10 Spartans travel to Madison to take on the Badgers.
Well, I've got it in the front of my brain. If you have the SEC network.
I do.
Okay. This afternoon, the Ohio State Buckeyes softball team is playing at UT Austin. If you have the opportunity to watch, and Dan, I know you're a big
SEC network or Big Ten network.
It's on the SEC network. It might be on Big Ten. I don't know. But
why would Ohio State be on the SEC network?
Because they're playing Texas.
Oh, playing Texas.
Right. Okay. The only reason I mentioned that, because my cousin, Taylor Cruz, is a starting outfielder for the Ohio State Buckeyes. So she's a really good ball player.
Is she from the state, or
she's from Kansas?
Okay.
She's like my second cousin. I don't know how it works.
Sure.
Her mom is my first cousin.
There you go.
She played softball at KU, and all the kids. My uncle is a heck of an athlete, still getting around good in his old age.
Mm-hmm.
Had girls; they're both really good athletes. Played college ball, and now she is playing at Ohio State, and they're playing UT Austin today.
Okay. Well, if I get a chance, I'm going to be on the road later to Blanchard for Weatherford High School basketball this afternoon. So if it's not too late,
Blanchard, America,
today, heading down to take on a ranked Lions squad. So
is it the Sonia Vermillion Classic?
No. Dan Narva wants to know the name again.
Taylor Cruz.
Taylor Cruz. Well, I actually got to see one of my former kids, Marley Peasley, on somebody had it pulled up on Big Ten Plus up at the radio station as the UW Lady Huskies were taking on, I believe, Nebraska last week in softball. And then I didn't check the stat line yet, but Texas Tech played Florida State, and we've got another girl from Weatherford, Harley Chisholm, who's at Florida State. So, anyways, but join the fun, join the comments. We want to hear from you if you're tuned in watching. And so college football, Jeremy, it's year-round for us pretty much. But coaching changes as your Kansas City Chiefs, as noted by the helmet up there above your head, have now obtained DeMarco Murray, former running backs coach for the OU Sooners, to be their new running backs coach. I mentioned to you off the air, I read where that leaves Bill Bedenbaugh as the final coach left from any semblance of the Lincoln Riley staff.
Yeah, that's wild to think about, that they're almost all finally gone. And Bedenbaugh, they're going to need a stick of dynamite or him retiring to get him out of there.
But we forgot to mention CJ Iu, a Texas Tech assistant coach. He went to, I think, the Steelers.
Okay.
And then that was last week, and I whiffed on it. I knew it. I saw it. But then also, I mean,
Kirby Smart predicted all this a few years ago, that these assistants they're not going to hang around college football because it's too much of a pain for them. Constantly recruiting your position group, dealing with
something that won't go over real well.
Go for it.
I think also you're going to lose some of your less motivated assistant coaches as well.
Possibly.
It's going to be a constant grind. And some kid who wants the chance that may not be a former player is going to step up and be willing to put in the work.
Hey, and that's
what it is now.
That's great. But these guys that have been doing it for a while, and the landscape of college football has changed, and it's so they have more responsibility as position coaches in college football than they do in the NFL. So they go to the NFL and they actually have an off season. They don't have to work as many hours. And DeMarco didn't get fired. The Chiefs wanted him.
Yeah.
I mean, good for DeMarco. The same thing with Jay Valai.
Yeah, where did he go? I'm trying to remember. I forgot.
Jay Valai went to Buffalo.
Yeah, that's what it was. So CJIU from Tech and 2 from OU make ways to the professional ranks. And then OU hires Lamar Morgan from Michigan, or is set to hire. I haven't seen anything official.
There has to be a Board of Regents meeting or something.
Exactly. So Lamar Morgan tabbed to be the next defensive backs coach for the Sooners. He comes from the Wolverines after 2 seasons. And, I think he's had a decent track record.
It's a good hire. It's a good hire.
And then also, and here's the crux. We talk about these assistant coaches as great recruiters. And I saw this on a tweet earlier, and I think Travis Davidson might have took it to task with a tweet that had been posted. There's a defensive recruit that I guess there's an assistant at Texas of Austin that people are praising because he's such a great recruiter. And Travis brought up the point. It's like, well, is he a great recruiter, or is the NIL bag just too much for these kids to pass up? Because the kid that they snagged from Georgia, I can't remember if he was a recruit or a player, but he basically was quoted as saying their NIL was just too much to overlook. So who's the great recruiter? I mean,
chicken or the egg?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could be a great recruiter if I'm throwing around money bags.
Oh yeah, if you got all kinds of dough, forget about it. Yeah, you'd be all right.
And it's a shame we'll do an extensive Texas Rangers preview because John Moore also has a Texas college football podcast that he does. So I'm going to try to steer clear of all that. I don't want to divulge into a whole OU Texas thing here in the middle of the day before Valentine's Day, Friday the 13th. But Lamar Morgan, like I said, he coached some good players there at Michigan. They had pretty solid secondary. I think
he was also held a coordinator title. He was the pass game coordinator up there. So,
but then also they're saying that they didn't really snag him from Michigan. They the quotes I saw was that Whittingham may not have retained him.
He may not
He
have.
might have been a free agent, which who
Well,
cares?
yeah, the Michigan staff was very solid outside of the head guy,
The former Sooner head coach.
who, he was a good coach. I mean, he was a good O-line coach. He was decent as an offensive coordinator, but he also may be completely nuts.
Yeah, he's got problems.
But he had a good staff.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, and they had some success with him there. Hey, we want to thank our sponsor, CCW Safe, for sponsoring our program. Be sure and check out the website down below to get you and your family covered. Legal self-defense coverage with plans starting as low as $19 a month. Visit the link below at ccwsafe.com. Also, the link to go to is in the description of this broadcast. Self-defense support with deep expertise, personal care, and self-defense coverage that goes beyond the basics. You can trust the team at CCW Safe, and I sure do. Jeremy, before we get into combine talk, or to wrap up OU, the sentiment on DeMarco Murray is, I mean, and I kind of said a little bit earlier, my piece is, we don't know the true motivation level he had to deal with the college process, but I mean, I would think they bring in enough help and support staff to kind of do the legwork of all of it. You just have to probably kind of review film and talk to kids. But I will say this: would you say Sooner Nation is kind of split in the loss of DeMarco Murray, or do you think it's a heavier percentage one way or the other?
I think the majority of Sooner Nation realized it was time for a change with that group, with watching how the running backs have struggled, with watching how he never really had a grasp on how to rotate his guys. I mean, we burned Xavier Robinson's red shirt for meaningless snaps against Ole Miss and I want to say Texas last season, and he never really got on the field until mid-year, 2 seasons, and he was clearly the better back of what they had. He didn't manage Torrey Blaylock well this year. Who it's been a long time since Eric Gray was on campus,
Mm-hmm.
and Ramondre Stevenson, who I don't think needed a lot of coaching because he's just a tank, but he was also a JUCO kid, and he dealt with a suspension. He apparently chased Holly Walker off. We're talking about some good players he's had, and he's recruited good players. Hollywood Smothers, apparently the kid's parents wanted him closer to home. I get that. That's fine. That's going to happen. Don't put that on DeMarco.
Yeah.
But for all the good he did, there were warts with some of the things he did as far as rotating guys, keeping guys fresh, realizing who has the hot hand. He just could never grasp hot hand. And as a running back, you think that had been fairly simple for him.
When Cale Gundy was there, and I'll just
boy.
go forward ahead and say,
What time's the game Saturday, Chuck? What station's it on?
Yeah. One thing about Cale is that he was kind of the ramrod on a whole lot of the offensive stuff because he had such tenure there, and
great recruiter.
Great. I mean, he ran the year I sent my son to the young kids camp. It was called the Bob Stoops camp, but it was the Cale Gundy camp. Cale ran everything. But to me, I just think to myself, do you really want to go back and retread?
No.
Get a younger. I mean, Cale's my age. You don't want to be having to depend on a guy my age to stay up with kids.
And it's still, people still know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right, wrong, indifferent.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You would have a lot of negative recruiting.
I mean, now if South Carolina hired him as the running backs coach, I think that'd be hilarious since allegedly that receiver that transferred to South Carolina is the one who made the complaint.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to come back to Oklahoma. You don't really go back when something like that happens.
Yeah,
it'll be a name. I mean, I'm hearing things about the running backs coach from Missouri who'd be a good get.
Mm-hmm.
who
Yeah,
also coached Tory Blaylock's dad when he was in high school. Eh,
yeah.
okay. Deshaun Foster.
I mean, I mean, it's not like the most I mean, you want a good hire, but it's
You also
not.
want somebody that's gonna be able to, realize who's got the hand, who's playing well, who needs to be getting carries.
Mhm.
DeMarco couldn't do it.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
heck, 240 pounds this second half. Why are we running out of scat back? Let's just hammer them.
Exactly.
And
Well,
Arbuckle's also got to be better at realizing that, but I know he puts a lot on his position coaches, and they've got to be able to support him.
yeah. It's, it'll be interesting and, and assistant coaches, they're kind of ambiguous as far as the credit they get and the blame they get, I mean, it's generally.
It seems like they don't get the credit, but they get all the blame,
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
unless you're Bill Bedenbow.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of blame in my book. But anyways, we'll see what happens. But interesting facts going on, or interesting things going on with regards to the OU coaching staff. And best of luck to Marco Murray. Hopefully he can turn Pacheco or one of those. Maybe, I don't know. Is he going to have Kareem Hunt to work with next year? What's the?
God,
He's going to be
who
on staff
knows?
with Bieniemy now, right?
Yeah, who's the running back from Notre Dame? Jeremiah Love.
Yeah,
Let's go
go
get
get him.
him. DeMarco will never get him carries in the second half.
I tell you, maybe tank next year and get that running back from Miami when he comes out eventually or something.
Oh, Kadarius Toney.
No,
Oh,
the big kid that had the big run
why did
in.
I say Kadarius Toney? No, we
Yeah,
already had him. He was awful.
yeah.
Uh,
All
okay,
right. So also on the forefront or on the horizon for
Malachi Toney.
Malachi Tony is who you were
Yeah.
thinking. OU and SMU agreed to play their 2027 matchup in Jerry World, a great traditional ACC SEC matchup set to be had there at AT&T Stadium. And
Hey man, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot we're playing SMU. That's freaking awesome."
yeah,
And that's how it's at Jerry's World.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
there'll be tickets to be had because if they're playing it at Gerald Ford Stadium, that's
35,000.
35,000.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I heard it's a wonderful place. It's just
Oxford shirts and boat shoes as far as the eye can see.
they'll also be playing LSU at Jerry World in 2029. So yeah, but uh and then also I wanted to touch on the Trinidad Chambliss thing real quick, just for a few minutes before we bring John Moore in here. So Chambliss gets an injunction from a Mississippi judge that makes him eligible immediately. And it was basically on the basis that they believe the NCAA acted in bad faith regarding his illness or his medical red shirt in 2022 at Ferris State, which Dan Narva, I'm sure, has all the lowdown on all of that for us. But so the hilarious part of this, and congratulations, Trinidad Chambliss. Wish somebody would get an injunction for Owen Heineke, but
I imagine it would take about 14 seconds to prove that the NCAA acted in bad faith.
for Owen,
Anything
yeah.
for
Oh yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Have they ever acted in good faith?
The funniest part of it was the clip of assistant coach Joe Judge on the stand talking about telling his players with pregnant wives or spouses that they got to understand he's got to get sleep at night during the season, and those
Uh-huh.
midnight feedings, let him sleep in another room. And Joe Judge just going on and on about this stuff. And then the judge actually admonished him to speak slower. I just thought to myself, what, this is like my cousin Vinny or something,
Yeah, it was all a formality.
What is a
Go you go in front of a judge in Mississippi, and I guess Trinidad was signing autographs for him after the hearing. So
Hey, yeah, I
that's
mean,
cool.
that worked for Charles Bediaco at Alabama for a short term, but he had
You know,
less of a case than Trinidad.
I mean, I like the fact he's getting another year, but here's something that we've probably talked about this. If he goes this year, he's in the first 3 rounds,
I can't
don't you
imagine it
think?
wouldn't be. I
I
mean,
mean,
physicals
next
might be a little different, but,
outside of Mendoza,
you said Garrett Nussmeier last week, and I'm
I
gonna
know,
what he
and I will keep banging on the table for Garrett Nussmeier. That dude can play. and Brian Kelly should be put in front of a firing squad for what he did to that offense this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here.
Max wants to know if your phone's turned off, Chuck.
Nope, it's not. And I just responded to John Moore saying it wasn't. So sorry, John. And then Dan Narva, last comment before we bring John in. I spent more time on X than that I should have. 2022. He never got in a game at all. Chris Childers today from SXM really seems to get the respiratory stuff. Well, his coach, according to the testimony, Tony Anise told him, you're going to medical redshirt this year. So I don't know what else you can do from there, but it'll be interesting to follow. We'll see how long the injunction stays. The NCAA can't appeal. But you've got a Montana Grizzly player that's in his 9th season. You got a Miami linebacker that's in his 8th. Good grief.
And Owen Heineke can't get a 4th.
Owen Heineke played 15 minutes of lacrosse. So anyways, hey, let's transition to baseball. And that means we're going to bring in our good friend, John Moore, from the DLLS Texas Rangers Weekly podcast, and also the Texas football broadcast and Texas football podcast. Is it Texas College Football Podcast, John?
Yeah, on Fanatics View, Texas College. It covers the you came on with me this year.
Yeah, Chucky's wearing burnt orange.
Oh yeah, he's got a kid on campus down there. So he's got to represent at every single turn.
I've got a cousin on campus down there.
My closet has a lot of orange in it. I admittedly admit that.
Well,
it did before my son ever went there, so it just made it worse now that you actually give me access to the campus. So,
well, Chuck said we weren't going to talk about football, and then you show up wearing burnt orange. It's like, he's doing
it. You're in kind of a crimson there, even though it's Under Armour and not the right brand, but
it's a yellow band shirt.
I'm the only one representing who we're here to talk about, and that's the Texas Rangers. And then we can also kind of divulge into some stuff. And then also, if you've got questions for John Moore, be sure and leave them on the comments. We'll read them aloud and let John answer those for you if you have Texas Rangers comments. But John, this has got to be an exciting time of year for you. We will follow you on social media at Recliner Nerd. And you've also got your own Facebook page now for the Recliner Nerd, I saw. So we'll follow that as well. But a lot of content, you and Jeff Wilson just really bringing the heat as far as player interviews and insider information. You've got to be ascending to the tops of the peaks of Texas Rangers coverage.
Well, Jeff, for sure. I think I just ride Jeff's coattails is what I do. Look, my credibility shot through the roof for being associated with Jeff Wilson, who's covered the team since I think he's in his 20th year of covering the team. And the Texas Rangers media relations love him. They just love him. So just the fact that he brings me along gives me the access that I would have never suspected I had. When you were first reaching out to me, I was credentialed, but I didn't have the cred. I don't know that I have cred, let's be honest, but I do have the access through Jeff, and I can get any questions answered through Jeff. I can text him at any time, and he's there right now in spring training. I'll be there. We're going to be there March 1st through the 6th. The two of us will go. Nice. And then he'll be back he's always there for when they get there. Then he's always there for when they make the final roster cuts, and him and I usually go in between just to set up a bunch of stuff for the year and get this. It's the best time for anybody that's never been to spring training. I can't endorse it enough, especially as a fan. It's the time you get the closest to the players, and you're able to get up close to them. It's kind of like going to Softball World or any of those softball places. You're just back there, and they're back on fields like that. You're able to watch them that close. All your favorite players back there. A lot of them will sign autographs. Some don't. They just don't have a chance to. But you really can get close and get some good photos. And for us in the media, it really helps to talk to these guys before the season starts. They're more open, willing to talk, and they're a lot more fun.
Well, before we get into talking actual Rangers, and I think Jeremy could enjoy this, have you ordered your replica Nolan Ryan bloody jersey shirt yet that I saw being hawked on Twitter?
I'm actually going to make my own. So
nice.
I bought his jersey, and my wife is going to punch me. And then I'm going to bleed, and I'm going to wipe it. I want it more authentic. That's what I want. So
you know what's funny, and I read an article about this back when the Sporting News was the premier coverage of Major League Baseball. You know, they say that whole event, him and Robin Ventura, kind of changed the game. You ended up having fewer players willing to keep guys off the plate just because of, even though Nolan kind of won that bout, there were other guys that just weren't really going to go inside. You had like Randy Johnson and I think Danny Darwin there for about 5-year period were the only two pitchers that were willing to pitch inside. And, you know, Nolan, you know, that was, he had no qualms about anything, but
and actually the bloody jersey isn't from the Robin Ventura.
That's from the
yeah, that's the one he took the ground ball up the middle and it hit off his glove and hit him in the face. But in that, I think what you're talking about is Nolan was 40 or 41 at the time, and the dog pile that got on top of him, I think a lot of those guys started realizing you don't want to be at the bottom of one of those dog piles at any age, much less 40 years old. But Nolan, I've heard some hysterical stories about how he just was not going. He to the end, he was that way. Ken Griffey Jr. has a great story about it, that when he was a rookie coming up, he was 3-0. He went 3-0 against Nolan, and Nolan came down to get a ball, and he walked off the mound and walked up to the front and said, "I can't effing believe I'm 3-0 on a rookie." And Griffey knew what was coming, and he got drilled. and then he stole second base and stole third. And Nolan came off the mound and just walked over towards third base and rubbed up the ball looking at him. And he knew then, he said, "I knew next time I came up too, I was going to get drilled."
Yeah. And that was old school baseball right there in itself. And I'm ready for baseball. The NBA is really kind of lagging in my.
I can't get into it this year.
I've never been a big NBA guy, just never. And it's not that I don't like basketball. I played it, didn't play it in high school. I don't. I'll get into it when playoffs start. I'll usually start, especially if the Mavericks are in it. But, if the Mavericks aren't in it, I'm not really going to follow the rest of it. Maybe in the finals, I'll try to watch a game or watch part of a game. But I've just never been into it. College basketball, I like a little more.
Yeah.
And still, I'm just not a big basketball guy. I'll watch it, but, it's all about the dunk now. Used to, you would set screens and do all of that. So I just.
Do I need to step out so y'all can talk about mid-range jumpers?
Shut up. We got a super fan that'll gig me on that later. So. Intermediate range game, mid-range game. Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing. Each year I tell myself I'm going to stick with baseball through May and June. And then inevitably, summertime comes around and sitting there, catching a game. If every game for the Rangers in the summer was West Coast time, I'd probably catch a whole bunch of them, but I know that would be tough. But it's kind of everything I'm reading, John, this Texas Rangers team has a lot of potential. They lost some pieces. They brought in some pieces. I think just in the last week, there's some reason for excitement. But let's start at the top. Chris Young brings in Skip Schumacher to take over for Bruce Bochy. What's your take on the new hire?
Skip was here last year. So he was with the Marlins and then had 2 good seasons with the Marlins and then actually stepped down, didn't get fired. He stepped down. And I think he knew that the Marlins weren't as invested as he wanted to see. And so he came over to the Texas Rangers and took a front office job and kind of became the coach in waiting. And everyone, it was the biggest unspoken truth that was going to happen is when Bochy stepped down and Schumacher was still here. Now, if Bochy would have stayed and re-signed or done something like that, which he had a choice if he really wanted to, who knows where Skip would have ended up. But once Bochy decided to part ways, it was pretty well known that Skip was coming in. He's got a lot of credibility with these guys. A lot of people like him. He's real nice. I've met him. I went to his press conference and I've talked to him in the dugout before, but not a lot. But he's a real nice guy. He's different than Bochy's going to be. He was with Jake Berger in Miami when Berger had his best years. That was his manager with the Marlins. And so I'm excited. I mean, it's going to be a different approach. Bochy was always funny to talk to and do that. Skip seems like a great guy. I haven't talked to him enough to know exactly. I'll talk to him more when we get out there. And I usually don't. My conversations are not like most of the media's, because the questions that are getting asked, I don't have to ask them. They all ask them. I'm just standing there while they're asking them. I'm usually one-on-one when it's in between or batting practice or whatever. And we usually our conversations end up about kids and family. And he's got a son that's playing for TCU. I think it's going to be playing baseball for TCU. I'm sure that'll come up. Stuff like that. I get more kind of know what's going on behind the scenes. And that's when they open up and have a little fun. I don't grill them about, what in the heck, why did you pull so-and-so? And what was your thinking? Those get asked by the other guys. And that's the great part about where I am. I don't have to ask those questions.
Yeah. And I feel you, because, it's always the guy asking you can ask Barry Trammell with his regards to Russell Westbrook. The guy who has to ask the tough questions gets the most heat. I don't want to be that guy. So,
it's got to be asked. And for the most part, these guys know it has to be asked. I guess I've been 6 years. I've been in the clubhouse and all of that. Even with players, I've never really had anybody that was a complete jerk. You had guys that didn't like, one of the moves the Rangers just made. They brought back Jordan Montgomery, and I guess we'll talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
He's a I don't talk a lot guy. He's a short answer guy. He doesn't expand on things. He's not surly, but Corey Seager. Corey Seager is fun to talk to when it's not on the record. Asking about his wife, the kid, the new son he's got, and asking about that. But he never wants to go on shows. He never wants to do that stuff. He's not comfortable in front of he just doesn't like it. He's just an introvert and doesn't like to do it. And with the coaches, it's the same way. I've never really had anyone just be a complete and utter jerk. I've had people that you could kind of tell they're a little surly, but they're never horrible. Some of the stories you hear of the old days, I've never had to deal with that. But I like to talk to some of the media guys. They'll talk about old players that they really didn't like when they were here. They were really hard to deal with.
I had a journalism professor back in 1988 at Oklahoma City University named Max Nichols, who had been a beat writer for the Minnesota Twins for years, and that was his claim to fame in journalism. And he told me some stories about him and Billy Martin throwing down, and he covered Harmon Killebrew for years. But at the end of the day, the athletes, they're people. That you have different varieties. You have ones that are, ones that get it, ones that don't, ones that just don't want to deal with it, and that's fine too. But I'll say this, a lot of that also stems from the top down, and I think you probably are dealing with a little different tenure with Chris Young, kind of leading things and kind of the feel around the clubhouse. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And Chris is, it seemed like John Daniel talked more than Chris does. And Chris is the same way. Like Chris in the interview process is pretty no nonsense. He talks and does that. And then I'll run into Chris, before games. He'll walk out and sit there on those chairs that sit up on the top of the dugout, and you'll walk by and we'll talk about his son playing basketball and all of that stuff there. He loves to do that. He's really into Chris is really into, like me, he's into true crime documentaries. And so we'll touch on those, but he's a different guy. But when you're talking to him, that the Rangers have been notorious, as much as John Daniels is real nice and talk to and all of that, they don't let you in on what's going on. The Brandon Nimmo trade with Marcus Semien, nobody saw that coming, and then all of a sudden it just dropped, and no one had an inkling that was going on. And they don't put their laundry out in public.
Sounds familiar, like our local basketball team here.
Yeah.
Hey, unpleasantness, and I don't want to talk about this, but what's the feeling you get about baseball in 2027? We're going to have a season?
I don't know. I mean, they're talking salary caps, which I guess they have the CBT now. I think there's always a chance we'll have a season. I don't think it's going to start on time. there's going to be a lockout. I mean, it always is. But
yeah,
the part that ticks me off about this that really drives me crazy right now, we all see it coming. We all know it's coming, yet they have all this time, including this entire 26 season. Why are we not in a room right now?
No.
I ask that every couple of months before my job shuts down.
Exactly.
Well, it's something's got to change, right? If it doesn't, we're going to have the Dodgers who've deferred so much money until the sun goes supernova. They're just going to win everything for the next 10 years. The Yankees will get tired of losing, and then they'll start it up.
I still can't figure out how this all works. I think Shohei Ohtani's son has a deal on the table for his DNA that's signed through 2055. I don't know what in the world, how all this happens, exactly how they're going to be paying payroll for the next 50 years. It makes them hard to sell. When you got to take on that debt once it comes into fruition. I mean, if a player's willing to defer it, why not?
We celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day every July 1st, just like every other red-blooded American. But now we're going to have Shohei Ohtani Day until the day we die.
Yeah, we'll be long gone before that day ends.
Yeah, and Francisco Lindor Day, and all that. And thank you, Jeremy, for bringing up the labor stoppage when we're about to start the season.
Hey, I'm a wet blanket.
Well, and it's funny because before you came on, John, me and Jeremy were talking. Actually, it was before the show. I heard Jeff Passan talking about it on an interview, and I've said this all along. I was a government employee. I had the strongest union and the strongest contract that probably most municipal employees could ever pray for, and I slept well at night because of that. I fashioned professional baseball, as the government employees of union laborers in the athletic realm. Their contracts are the best. Their labor union is the best, and they get what they want in most cases. I don't know how long under the current circumstances that holds up, because you do have some backlash against kind of some of the privilege, I guess you can say, of some of these players and their deals and things like that.
It's a two-way street too. So I know what you're saying there. And yes, look, you are getting paid a lot of money. That's always the argument against the players, is you are getting paid a lot of money to play a game. I mean, a lot. These guys their families are set up for multi-generations if they know what they're doing with money over these contracts that they get. And baseball does win these labor negotiations every time in doing that. On the other side, the ownerships, look, they're making money. There's no qualms about it. And there are some owners I think what I would like to see more than anything is there be some parity and just some evenness around there. You got teams that don't spend any money and they get, part of that problem is on them. They get revenue sharing. They get some money from these bigger teams, and I get that they don't make as much and they don't have as big a TV deals and stuff like that. But when the CBT is at about 240 or 245 this year, and you're hovering below 120 in your payroll, that's on you. And
it's got to be a salary floor.
Yeah, you need to sell the team. You need to be out from under it. These guys buy these teams and then they sell them and make these, they're going to make their money, or start putting a competitive team. I have long, and I put a video out today about it, just kind of because I saw that Jeff Passan, who's on a podcast, talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Davis gets a lot of crap, and everybody thinks he's cheap and all of that. He's not. He's fiscal. Is what he does. When he had to guarantee money from his TV deal, he spent big, and look at the free agents he had. And if you look at the Texas Rangers, they don't have a bad contract. They've got the players that are producing on the field that make the most money are their bigger stars, and they fill in with development down below. But he doesn't want to pay that competitive balance stats. And people go, well, he's a billionaire. He should just come out of his pocket. That's fine. And while I understand that, and you can say that, especially in a top 5 market that the Rangers are in, there's also something to be said for being fiscally responsible and not saddling yourself with contracts you can't get rid of, and look where it's all fun and nice that the Dodgers are going to be where they are, but eventually they're not going to have that talent there, and they're at some point, well, maybe not, I don't know, they'll just buy everybody every year, but there's a point where you're going to be saddled with a debt that's got to get paid somewhere. But I think this year the Rangers are hovering around 200, or they might be a little below it. It gives them room to make moves at the deadline. They've got the top rotation, I think, in the American League right now, especially with the McKenzie Gore trade. And then the offense. Look, the offensive issue, you win with pitching and defense, and they've got a great defense. They've got a great pitching staff. Now they've got to get the offense going, and it wasn't because they sucked. It was because they played horrible. None of them lived up to what they were supposed to do, right? So, I've heard from Jeff yesterday. We were talking about it. Jock Peterson looks like he's lost a bunch of weight. He's come in better shape than he did last year, and he feels like he's got something to prove. I mean, we know what Jock Peterson can be if he's playing. Jake Berger had a down year. Injuries hurt him. They moved Marcus Semien, one of the hardest workers on the team, who just has not performed well. I loved Marcus. Marcus was really nice, easy to talk to. He was a little reserved in talking for, questions about that, but he knew his professional responsibility. He would stop and talk to any media and do that. He's first one on the field, last one off the field, there at the end. He was always one of the hardest workers there, but he wasn't producing. And so he's got a sweet setup. He's going to up to the New York, where he doesn't have to be one of the top producers on the team. And with that lineup around him, he'll probably produce more and do well up there. And the Rangers, it was a great swap. Brandon Nimmo coming here is going to be great. Jake Berger, I expect bigger things out of him. Josh Smith moving to second base. I think we'll see. I mean, Josh he kind of fades off at the end of the season, but he's a serviceable guy. He's a good guy at the plate. I love Josh. He's one of the nicest guys out there. Then we'll see Young. This is a big year for Young to step up at third base. Corey's probably only got a year or two more at short before they move him to a corner. The players are there, and then you got Wyatt Langford, who
that's the one I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
I mean, he's due something to break out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's already been one of the better players. There's some swirling rumors around him maybe joining that WBC. I don't know that'll happen, but that's a guy that's going to end up being a 40, 50, $60 million a year guy, I think. I mean, he is hysterical to talk to. He is not a talker. He is just he's a friendly guy, one of the friendliest guys, talking all that. But man, it is like pulling teeth to get Wyatt Langford to expand on anything. He would rather work out, go hit baseballs, drink Powerade.
That's Jeremy, basically.
Yeah, I mean, that's just his world. His world isn't sitting around talking to the media.
A couple of the departures, Jonah Heim and El Bombi, Adolis Garcia. It's always tough to see pieces from a World Series or a really great run move off elsewhere. But I think probably Rangers fans look at those two and say, yeah, it was time. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I love Bombi. Bombi was one of the friendliest guys you'd ever meet. He spoke better English than, he started really trying to speak English in his interviews towards the end of it and understood it and spoke it really well, was doing fantastic at it, but just friendlier than heck. He went out of his way to come over and give you a bro hug and say hi and do all of that. And Jonah was the opposite. You had to basically corner him to get him to answer any questions. He just had nothing to do with being a jerk or anything like that. He just wasn't going to seek you out. You had to seek him out. But neither one of them were producing at the level. Well, along with Semien, they just weren't producing at the level of that World Series, and that might have been a one-off that World Series year. Bombi he's going to do. Where did he end up with the Mets?
Phillies. Did he go to Philadelphia?
Did he go to the Phillies? Yeah, I
think.
Let me effort that. You guys talk.
Yeah.
But he'll do well, not having to carry a team. He's also very streaky. He's a streaky. He'll go on a run where he'll hit a home run every other day for 2 weeks, and then he'll be 0 for 24 and flailing away at breaking balls. And
he is with the Phillies.
Yeah. So he'll do well there. I think he'll do well there, not having to be the key cornerstone piece. He may hit 7th or 8th in that lineup, you know?
Well, that's pressure, you know?
Absolutely.
We're visiting with John Moore from the DLLS Rangers Weekly podcast. Be sure and check out his content. We shared his interview that he mentioned that he did this morning talking about the labor situation on our Twitter page at Law Dog Sports. I don't know why we're not streaming on Twitter right now. I have it set up to do so, but I didn't see our stream pop up on the X. But we are on Facebook and YouTube, and YouTube's where we share our finished video. But looking at this rotation, John, and then also into the
Chuck, we are streaming on X.
We are okay. I couldn't get it. I couldn't find it. So thank you, Jeremy Schroeder. John Moore at Recliner Nerd on Twitter. You've got, and I'm going to base this off of something I read. Nothing I ever say is original. You've got DeGrom, who had his first healthy year in forever. You want to try to capture that again. Eovaldi was great until August when he got hurt. Leiter, everyone says he's trending upwards. Kumar Rocker probably needs some refinement, but then you add Mackenzie Gore from the Nationals. I read where Gore is up for free agency in 2 seasons. So is Eovaldi and DeGrom, but he is significantly younger than them. The advice was sign him early and then figure out what you can do with the other 2, because they'll be in their late 30s, I believe. But with that rotation, because Jacob Latz was set to be the 5th starter, does he move to the bullpen? Does he?
I think he's going to win that job.
You think Jacob Latz gets that fifth spot?
Look, it's a great problem to have.
Sure.
If he doesn't make that 5th, it would be nice to have 2 left-handers in your rotation. They've got Mackenzie Gore now. So I imagine he'll be the number 3 starter. Then you got Jack Leiter. I really think, and Jeff seems to think this, and that's why he's convinced me of it. I think Kumar Rocker, unless he just destroys spring training, is probably going to start at AAA, just so he stays in the rotation because they want him to be a starter. That's where I think he's going to start. Jacob Latz, look, what he did down the stretch, you can't ignore what he did. He kept it below 3 ERA. He was just going out and mowing people down, doing a great job. We had him on 2 weeks ago. He's a big friend of Jeff and I's. He just one of the friendliest guys. It's funny. These guys, it's a professional relationship when you meet these guys, but there are a few guys that will call you by name and come out of their way to come say hello to you. And most of them were minor leaguers when we met them, and then they get there and you see them, they always come over and say hello. And Jacob's always been that way. Sure. And he's just always come over and said hello and what's going on and talked and did all of that. And so jumps on with us, no problem. And I'm telling you right now, Jacob Latz is I think he's going to make the rotation, quite honestly. If he doesn't, then he'll be that guy. He'll be that kind of that 6th starter, fill in, long reliever guy out of the bullpen. But got to remember, Cody Bradford's due back in May. He's throwing off the mound right now.
With Rocker, what is it right now that is kind of holding him up? What's the
more innings? He just needs more innings. He came up last year in a forced role. They needed an arm, and he was part of the depth. He came up, and he would look brilliant at times, and then his PFPs and stuff like that coming off the mound weren't fantastic. Weren't fantastic. He made a couple of boneheaded errors and mental mistakes on the mound, and that happens. I mean, look, he's mowed down everyone he's ever faced his entire life, and now he's facing the best hitters in the world. And you have to approach that in a different way, and it's learning to do that. His arm is unquestionable what his arm is. He sits there and hovers around, mid to upper 90s. He's got more than 2 pitches. He has 3 pitches, 4 pitches that he can throw him for strikes. He's just an unbelievable talent, and now it's harnessing that talent and turning it into the starter that everyone thinks he's a future 1 or 2. I think his upside's more than Leiter's, to tell you the truth.
It's always good to hear. Real quick, Sebastian Walcott, I saw where he's going to have elbow surgery. I know that's a little bit of a blow to the spring training outlook. Then also talk about the farm. What is actually I wanted to talk bullpen first. I'm sorry. Robert Garcia kind of did the closing last year. They pick up Alexis Diaz. What's your outlook on the bullpen this season?
Well, they don't have a closer. I guess Alexis Diaz might be kind of your closer. I think there's some people that are talking about Chris Martin. Obviously, Robert Garcia that closed some games last year. He can do it. Watch Cole Winn. That's a guy who came on last year in leverage situations and did a great job. Former first-round pick, was a starter, just rolled through the lower minor league system till he got to AAA. That's where they had the ABS, the automatic ball and strike system, and it messed with him for 2 years. He hovered around 6-7 ERA. And then all of a sudden he started figuring it out and how to move things around. He comes up to the major leagues, comes out of the bullpen and starts to shine. I mean, the guy has got a first round draft pick arm. And I think he really loves it in the bullpen. And that's where he's going to stay. The injuries, because you've got like Mark Church is another one that's on the IL that could potentially come in and be something. You got Emiliano Teodo, who is another one that's dealing with injuries, that throws 100 miles an hour. I think he just got a setback with something with his back. Luckily, it's not an arm. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing Garcia, Diaz, and Chris Martin are the ones to watch. My dark horse is Cole Winn, who, if his leverage situations increase where he goes, that might be your guy to watch, who ends up closing some games by the end of the year.
Okay. Actually, table the farm question. I kind of want, we'll probably have, if we can, we'll get you back on right before the season starts, and we'll kind of do an outlook there. Okay. But two exit questions I want to give you. The first one is pretty predictive, and I hate to put you on the spot like this. Last 3 seasons since the World Series, best and worst maneuvers that Chris Young has had
since
the series.
What's the best moves he's made and the worst moves? Oh gosh, there's either way. I like the Nimmo trade. I guess we'll see how that works out. I mean, I guess I like it now, but let's see what happens there. I think, oh gosh, the best move, probably the Jake Berger trade. I like Jake Berger. He didn't do what we wanted last year. He was a little off, and that kind of stinks. But I really like the Jake Berger move, and I think that's going to pan out. I just think Jake Berger's a 30 home run guy, and I think that's going to be one of the good moves that we talk about going forward. I think that's maybe the worst right now. It seems to be Jock Peterson, or maybe a couple of the Cole Winn trade. Well, that was during the World Series season, so I can't complain against that. Not the Cole Winn, it's Cole Reagans. But that was during the World Series, so you can't argue that, because although I think he's injured also, but that was one of your brightest young arms to get rid of. Last year,
nothing on the Merrill Kelly acquisition.
That's one that, they gave away some good prospects. Well, they've depleted the farm system.
Yeah.
Basically right now with what they did, the Gavin Feen, who was their first round pick last year, they used him to kind of headline that deal to bring in Mackenzie Gore, but Mackenzie Gore's here for 2 years. They do need to, this could be a make or break year. If the Rangers fall out of contention and start kind of, it kind of doesn't look like they're going to compete. By trade deadline this year, they may replenish the farm system by moving some of these players with the big contracts and getting back some good young talent to build around, and then go back in with your checkbook next year and open up for some more big free agent signings. That's kind of the way I see it. If not,
that leads into my second predictive question, John, and you know where I'm going with this. Come trade deadline, will the Texas Rangers be buyers or sellers?
If I'm sitting now with the confidence, and I'm always an optimistic guy, I think they're buyers.
Okay.
They've always every year kind of been both.
Yeah.
They look to move a piece to clear space if they're looking to add somebody or do something like that. But I think they'll go shopping. I think they'll look for a bat. If the bullpen doesn't produce, they'll go for a closer or an established closer to do that, and maybe a right-handed bat if they don't shore it up, or some sort of bat depending on what the offense does. I'm going to assume they're probably going to be buyers, but they usually do both, even if they are buyers. They'll move a piece also.
Those things I see right now has Texas kind of in fourth in the AL West. I think that would be pretty fluid. I can't see. I mean, Seattle seems to be a prohibitive favorite, but Houston and Oakland, I wouldn't just automatically fashion them to, because like you said, there's so many things at play with this Rangers team that things go well, the first 3 or 4 months, kind of click the first 3 or 4 months, you can set yourself up pretty well.
Yeah, I think fourth is an easy prediction. I would probably put them more in a third place. I think Oakland, their rotation is probably a question.
Yeah.
Going into that, they've got some good young offensive players. But Seattle, obviously, and Houston just won't freaking go away. I keep expecting them to fall off, and they just won't go away.
Valdez, that's a nice addition to the Tigers.
Yep, but the Rangers seem to have Valdez's number. So I didn't bother me. I knew he wasn't going to come to Texas. He didn't pitch well in Texas. And he's a kind of a loose cannon too. He can get upset over something and then ruin his next start because he's still mad about the previous one. But I think that Rangers had one of the best ERAs in all of baseball last year. Their pitching staff was not their problem. It was their offense. And if the offense plays just better, I mean, we're not asking, we're just asking you to play at a level that people expect and score more runs. This team, the whole dynamic changes. This team probably wins maybe 5 or 10 more games. They ended up at 81 wins last year, or 82. But I think they end up around 90 to 91, and that might put them in as a wild card.
Vegas has them at 82.5.
Yeah, well, last year they was at 81. I think it's going to be. I would take the over on that bet easy, just because I think that the offense is going to be better, just because it has to be. You can't expect. There's so many freak things. Evan Carter, who was up and down as far as injuries and doing that. Josh Young didn't live up to potential. Jonah Heim was the shell of himself behind the plate. You had Marcus Semien, who just could not get going at all. Jock Peterson, good Lord, he finally looked like he was starting to figure something out by the end of the year. Everyone underperformed immensely. And then you had the Corey Seager injury and the hernia and stuff like that. So, it just has to be better. Jake Berger had some injuries and didn't live up to his potential. Wyatt Langford even had a couple injuries and had to be shut down for just a little bit. It wasn't big, but I just think overall this offense will be better just because they have to be. If they just play even average baseball, they're going to be a better offensive team. And I think they're going to get away from. I think Schumacher's more of a let's generate runs. Let's make it happen. Let's not wait for the big bat. Let's get on base. Let's be a problem on base. Let's steal some base. Let's just move people around. Let's get in scoring position and let's have a big hit. And not everybody needs to go up trying to put it 6 rows up.
Yep. Dan Narva from Michigan says he's worried about Valdez's temper, said he was really good against Cleveland, which helps up there. So they need anything they can do to improve their chances against the tribe or the Commanders. Don't mean to go all politically incorrect.
Guardians.
Yeah. Guardians, Commanders, Guardians, whatever.
They're always the Indians to me. I don't care what anyone says.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't watch Major League or Major League 2 to see the Commander or the Guardians. Dan Narva also says rough year for Josh Young. Not sure Jace has a future in Detroit, getting boxed out by other prospects. So, yeah, the Young brothers coming out of but they both came out of Texas Tech. Yep. Really hot prospects. We want to see Josh Young, come back. And then also, last thing we will hit you up on, and I forgot it earlier, catcher, which is so key to. And with the veterans that they have in the pitching rotation, you don't worry as much about the catcher and how they handle each pitcher. But Danny Jansen, what's defensively, what's your take on him and how he's going to handle this rotation?
I like the Danny Jansen signing. I mean, look, Jonah Kyle Higashiaka, Higgy is not a everyday catcher. I love him to death. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. This guy will go out of your way to come over and talk to you and do. They're just one of the unbelievably nicest guys in the world. But he cannot. I mean, you cannot ask him to get behind the plate 90 games a year. You just can't ask him to do that. That's why the Jansen signing was such a big signing. I like the Jansen signing. It's more for defense than offense. I haven't looked up, what do they call them? The whips and all that stuff they do behind the plate. But Jonah struggled even behind the plate. He had some pass balls that were unforgivable, balls that he should have caught that he didn't go down and block, and he just kind of olayed at it and get by you, and that it put pitchers in bad situations. That's going to happen. I mean, all catchers do that. But I think that the pair from those two, the production, I think from the both of them, you're looking for guys that throw out maybe 30 to 40%, hopefully, of base stealers doing that. And I think that if you could get 15 home runs out of the two of them, maybe somewhere in the 220 to 250 range and an OPS of over 700 between them, you're not going to be, it's just that you're going to be okay behind the plate. That's what you're basically looking for. Your catcher's there for defense. It's not going to be offense. Anything offensively is gravy. Of course, you can't come up here and hit, less than 100 and just be an out in the lineup. You have to be somebody that can move the bat a little bit.
Yeah.
But Jansen hit 214 last year, I think. Yeah. I don't even know what averages mean anymore. I think he hit 14 home runs. What do averages even mean anymore? So Mike Maddox was replaced by, I'm sorry, I can't even pull this up.
Jordan Teagues.
Very popular.
Okay. All right.
He was very popular. A lot of these guys when they were minor leaguers.
Okay. So he's came up through the system with most of these guys. So
he might have been the assistant pitching coach last year or the bullpen coach. I don't remember what it was. So he's already been in the organization and he was at the big league level last year.
Okay. A couple more minutes with John Moore from the DLLS Rangers Weekly podcast. If you've got a question, fire it off in the comments and we'll get to it. And John, as we start to let you exit the premises, because I know this is a busy time of year for you, and we thank you so much for coming on. But you've got so many irons in the fire. I mean, are you catching the StatCast 10-minute review of nightly games? I mean, I know with Rangers, but you also have to keep up with things in the AL West and stuff like that. I'm having trouble in my older years really trying to keep track and remember a lot of things with regards to the league right now. Talk about what a typical day in the life of John Moore is.
Oh, wow. Well, so, I have a day gig like you used to have. I am lucky that my job is flexible enough for me to do kind of basically what I want to do. Let's just say a game day that I'm attending. If I'm going to a game out at Globe Life Field, I go to the office first. I'm usually there till lunchtime, 1:00, somewhere around there, 1 or 2. I'll head out to the ball field, get up there, get set up, get the computer set up, do all of that. I think clubhouse opens usually around 2:45 in the afternoon, and that's the before game clubhouse. Go down there. You're in there for about 45 minutes. You don't catch a lot of guys there. That some will come through, but most of them are in meetings. But the ones you do catch, it's more about lining something up. Can we talk later this week? Or, you go through Rich Rice and about getting somebody to come on the podcast or get an interview or do something like that. Batting practice, go out then and batting practice. You're down there on the field from about 4:00 to about 5 or 5:30, back up to the press box, get some food, sit down, game starts, keep score. I usually keep paper score and I go back and forth on that. My computer, I'm usually trying to see what's going on around the league. But when it comes to keeping up with everything and every stat around the other leagues, I am lucky. I don't have to have it all because I have the guy next to me who's a freaking computer. I I can bring up a player and he can tell you about usually when they were drafted, where they came up and how they did. I mean, Jeff knows everything. So usually my dumb questions will go, hey, so where was this guy? Yeah, remember he used to be with Baltimore or whatever, or whoever. So I try to keep up. I don't have to as bad as I used to. So I'm more focused on Rangers, and more than anything, I'm usually checking box scores on minor league box scores and see what's going on for the Rangers around the league. And that, so try to find out which prospects are doing anything. And on that note, let me just give a heads up on the Sebastian Walcott. You alluded to it a while ago. That was kind of a story that we could have almost broke. Last year, Sebastian's come on our show a bunch of times. He's just an unbelievably sweet kid. And last year he went and played in the Arizona Fall League. And the day before he was to make his Arizona Fall League debut, he came on with Jeff and I from Arizona and just talked about our normal stuff and all of that. And then or maybe it was the day after or 2 days after, it was announced that they were pulling him out of the Arizona Fall League for arm fatigue. And so, he'd played a full season. He's young. He played every game at AA. Played shortstop and third the whole year. Arm fatigue, they just weren't going to mess with it or go there. Then he comes in and gets to spring training this year. They kind of rehabbed it through the offseason is what we found out. Now, everybody just thinks he's gone for the season. That's not necessarily true. So he may be getting what's known as the brace procedure. Dr. Meister, who does these UCL surgeries, there's two in Major League Baseball that are the two renowned ones. It's him and a guy out of the Dodgers, team physician. He does these also. And everyone around the league either comes to Meister or goes out to California to get their UCL surgeries. They've done this new surgery called a brace procedure. Instead of replacing the UCL and fixing it, and you're usually out 18 months, the UCL was a brace one where they brace it and let it heal on its own, and it doesn't go as long. Well, this is not a pitcher. This is a shortstop. So there's a chance that it's going to be the brace procedure, which leads him into probably around midsummer, maybe July or whatever. Sebastian Walcott might be DHing and be back playing baseball again, and at least DHing. He just won't be playing out in the field. Okay. But Meister can't do that, and he can't tell you that until he gets in there.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know. He looks at the imaging and thinks that's what it is, but once he gets in, everything can change, right? So if it is the full-blown UCL tear that he has to replace, or however they do that, I think they do it different ways. They either replace it or take a muscle out somewhere and do whatever and builds one. It won't be as long as pitchers because he's not having to throw 100 pitches every game. Yeah. It won't be as long as that, but he would probably be out for the year. But there is a chance if it's that brace procedure, we'll see him by the end of the season at least DH.
Cool. AI says that's a 3 to 4 month rehab
on the
brace procedure.
On the brace procedure, for a position player.
It just says 3. I would assume position player, especially if DH, 3 to 4 months.
That's what Cody Bradford had. He had the brace procedure, and he's throwing off a mound right now. And he had it last year. He started season. He started the season, and he got a setback, and he was dealing with some stuff. And then, we would talk to him every day, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm throwing off the mound." And then one day he came in, and he's like, "There's a UCL issue," and it was about, I can't remember what part last year. I mean, he's not a year. It's not been a year since he had it, but he had the brace procedure, and I've seen Jeff put some video out, and he's out. He's throwing off the mound. He's throwing bullpens, but they still don't expect him back till at least May.
On the heels of that, question from the comment line, Max Patton out in far western Oklahoma, Beckham County, says, can you give us a name to watch that might make the team during the season from the minors?
From the minor leagues you've got to semi. I mean, I know he made the team last year. Cody Freeman might have a bigger role this year. As far as a position player, I mean, Abby Ortiz was who I would assume, but then he got traded for the Mackenzie Gore trade. It's going to be an arm, maybe Robbie Alstrom, who spent his tire last year. He's a left-handed pitcher out of the bullpen. They love him, but he was at AAA last year. I don't know. Is he on the 40-man? I don't know. Alstrom's on the 40 man.
I'd have to look it up. Sorry.
I've got it up here. Let's see here. Is Alstrom? He is not on the 40 man, so they'd have to make a move with him. Santos is another one that's coming back from Winston Santos coming back from injury that might make his major league debut. Coming back, I guess if you're asking about someone that's going to make their major league debut, I don't know. I mean, major league debut. Most of the guys that are on the 40 man have already made their major league debuts. Somebody that could work his way. You know what? I tell you what. Someone to keep an eye out for is.
Hold on just a second, John. Let me do something for you real quick. All right, you ready? John Moore with a name that just came to mind. Go ahead.
And I've gone blank. Let me. I got to find it here on the. Hang on. I can't even believe it's come on the show 100 times. The guy was going to Texas Tech, the infielder, he played second base and shortstop and played some center field here at Frisco. Why am I going blank? Guys, I think I might be getting into. Huh?
No, I'm sorry. I was looking at. You say he was an outfielder?
No, he's an infielder technically, but
Foscue.
No, not Foscue. Foscue's it's Jesus.
Yeah. I wasted a sound effect for that. So.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on. We're not going to do this without. Let me get to Frisco.
Okay.
And look at the Frisco Rough Riders.
So while you're doing that, we want to thank Clinton Liquor Store for sponsoring Law Dog Sports, the weekend big show. Marty Wandry, a big friend of the show. Clinton Liquor, 1018 South 10th Street in Seatown, right off of I-40, the easiest way off of I-40.
Cameron Colley.
Who?
Cam Colley.
Cam Colley. Okay.
Cam Colley. Cam Colley is, if you watch his numbers last year, when you know that this is a guy that might end up being a right-handed Josh Smith, a guy that plays a good position all around the infield and can also go to the outfield. He ended up putting us some good numbers last year at AA. He was going to Texas Tech, and he signed out of high school. Last year, he ended up hitting 253, had 15 home runs and a 773, but he got a slow start into it. But Cam's been on a few times. Young kid. He's 5'10", a small kid, 5'10", 170, kind of built like Josh Smith. But last year, about middle through the year, he came up, he was a second baseman shortstop, played some third base, played all over. Last year, he started playing some center field. And when you see a guy start to move around the infield and then start playing some outfield, it means the big league team is trying to find a place they can bring him up and use him. He's a good right-handed bat. And so that's a guy to watch. I'm assuming Cam will probably start. If he doesn't start at AAA, he'll probably start at AA. He's going to at least be AA, but he won't be there long. And I imagine he spends most of the year. But he's fast. Some think he might be the fastest guy in the organization.
Okay.
Truthfully,
Speed kills.
Do what?
Speed kills.
139 stolen bases in the minors.
Yep. He's unbelievable. What a great. He's from Texas. Went to, I think, Mount Bellevue, Texas, or somewhere like that. But down there, I think it's down there, Houston area. He was a wide receiver. Wide receiver he had a huddle page with a bunch of catches. He scored a ton of touchdowns. Senior year, he didn't play football. Concentrated on baseball, and had a full ride. He was going to Texas Tech, and then the Rangers took him in the third round, and he signed for about $1 million.
John, quick personal question for you before we get out of here. Did you donate to the Cam Coleman NIL fund for Texas football? Is that part of your duties down there in Austin?
I paid half of it.
Nice.
That podcast is doing well, my friend.
I was hanging around Auburn, Alabama, and taking to dinner every night, and kept showing him my debit card. Going, hey.
You were pulling the Vulcan mind swap on Hugh Freeze to talk him into going to Texas.
Hugh Freeze didn't know who I was, and I was wearing my second son's Missouri State stuff all around there, so he didn't know who I was.
And then also we'll see how Parker Livingston fares in Norman next season.
He's good, by the way.
But, I thought I kind of took a victory lap on all the people that rag on our school for, calling them 3-star U, where at one time your top receiver was a 3-star at one time. So you never know with college football. But hey, we're going to let you get out of here and wrap things up on here. But man, you gave us a lot of great time, a lot of great content here, and we will share your stuff and keep you out there at the forefront of our followers as far as everything baseball, particularly related to the Rangers. And man, I loved the days back when KSEY was back on the air and we had access to Rangers tickets and Rangers swag. It was always a lot of fun being an affiliate. Would love to try to get my current employers to cross that bridge, but I don't know all of the ins and outs as far as doing that.
It's been fun. It was one of the first ones I ever came on. Of course, I want to get to a point where I'm too big time to ever come back on your show.
I want you there.
I want to be able to look at you and go, Chuck, I have no time for you. It's got too much going on.
I think you're pretty close. I mean, because I hit you up last Friday. He's like, let me know next week. So
my humbleness is what does that, and I can't believe I had to come on here and talk to you.
No. I mean, we only go back about before COVID, so that's all right.
I remember that first spring training I ever went to before I was with Jeff, and went out there, and I was calling you from the stands. I was in the stands talking to you from a spring training game.
It was a lot of fun, and we've always appreciated you, your content, and your time you give us. John, let's try to do something before the opening day and get with you, see how spring training wrapped up and what the outlook for the Rangers is. Also, we may look in. We've got another baseball contributor that focuses on the Oklahoma scene, and he's also likes to geek out with Jeremy on Cubs baseball. So maybe we'll just do kind of a MLB preview episode one Friday before the season starts, if we can get that rolling. So we'd love to get you back on anytime.
Anytime. Just give me a heads up, and I usually can make it work. I know there was one time you were getting me on, and I kind of semi-forgot about it, and then it came, and I was like, "Oh man, I totally forgot," and I booked something. And
you guys were recording a lot on Fridays. Seemed like
we still do, but but with Jeff doing the daily show, we have to revolve around his daily show, and so doing that, so we may be doing 2 days a week this year. I don't know with things at DLLS. We'll see, and we may end up going live at some point. I don't know.
Sounds great. John, take care of yourself. Have fun out at spring training, and we sure appreciate you.
All right, guys. Take care, Jeremy. See you guys.
Right. He is John Moore, and he is part of the DLS Rangers, Texas Rangers Weekly podcast. And then also he's got his Texas College Football Show podcast and content there for him. And Jeremy, that's a lot of Rangers info we just doled out to our listeners.
That is, I always learn stuff when John's on because I don't follow the Rangers as much as I should. But get a lot of researching in.
And I did. I crammed I'm not going to lie. I crammed last night knowing that he was going to be on just so I could halfway sound formidable. Quickly, before we get out of here, your Oklahoma City Thunder lost to the Milwaukee Bucks last night in a injury-plagued game. We're looking at All-Star break coming around the corner. Trade windows closed. Jared McCain comes in. I think he had 13 points last night. When it gets down to the crunch time, he seems like a kid that can maybe come in and contribute the offense pretty well. Not sure about what they'll get out of him defensively yet.
Yeah, he's going to be one of those guys like Aaron Wiggins that's going to come off the bench, and you're going to expect a lot of offense from.
And they need that. They need a microwave. I mean, there's lulls in their game where they just kind of don't get quite particularly from three. The offensive output that seems like other teams kind of catch, but then they win, so it's hard to say.
And Presti, I know your feelings on Sam Presti, but he gave up a couple of twos, and I think Usman Jang, who lit the Thunder up last night for Milwaukee because they got nobody either. McCain was being talked about as a possible rookie of the year last year before he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're playing for the 76ers, which I don't know about that franchise, man. It just seems like
it's a little bit of a lit up. I mean, it was surprising
wandering in the desert.
Huh?
The 76ers just it feels like they're about to hit that wandering in the desert phase again.
Well, yeah, looking further down the road, I think that's a fair assessment, but I mean, aren't they let's take a look at it because I don't necessarily keep up with everything 76ers, but
Well, Paul
I mean,
George has got the drug suspension. Um, who knows what you're going to get with Embiid? It's
they're
just
currently 6th in the East,
yeah, and
and
we're talking about the East.
that could fluctuate 3 positions up or down within a month, right?
Yeah, we're talking about the East, which is
30 and
not.
24.
Yeah, we're talking the East is not hyper competitive like the West is.
No,
There's the competitive balance is you got a couple of really good teams at the top and then just everyone else, and they're part of that, just everyone else.
pretty
And
even home and away record.
yeah, they're just
A little better away.
it's the East, man.
6-4 over their last 10. So, yeah, he's going to have to be glad he's moved to a team that will fight for a Western Conference championship. I mean,
Sure, and if they win it, great. If not, you made a trade for a controllable contract that's cheap right now,
mhm,
which you're going to need.
yeah.
You gave up on Jang, which he's a good ball player, but he doesn't fit.
Nikola
He,
Topic gets time last night after his cancer battle, so that was nice to see. But
and great for that kid.
depleted roster.
Yeah, it is a depleted roster. I think you had Hartenstein probably. No, he didn't play last night.
J Dub didn't.
J Dub play, obviously Shea and AJ Mitchell.
Holmgren, I
AJ
think.
Mitchell. I'm telling you, man, you have AJ Mitchell last night, you probably win that game because AJ
Yeah.
Mitchell is a fantastic player.
Sure. So Thunder, they'll probably just kind of coast through the All-Star break, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you've got the All-Star break is here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the 15th is when the game is. Is it the 15th?
Yeah, it's that would be
Sunday.
this Sunday. So yeah. Yeah, so it's just last night was probably just kind of a hey, let's go ahead, see what happens. I mean,
look at it
you
like
almost
this.
keep the Lakers doing the same thing.
Right. You look at it like this. You've got two teams in the entire NBA that have 40 plus wins.
Yeah.
OKC has the best record in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And they have not been at full strength in maybe outside of a couple of weeks this year. So second half of the year, these guys will come back. Who knows? Could be some shenanigans happening. We're like, hey, we're going to sit you guys. It's an abdominal strain. Can't really confirm that. It just hurts. I can't go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And second half of the year, they come out and just, play like they did at the beginning of the season. We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it's shenanigans, but then they may get fined $500,000 like the Jazz did for sitting a couple of guys after halftime, Jaren Jackson Jr. and the finisher, Markkanen.
But now they're saying Jackson's out.
Yeah.
For the season.
Yeah. Well, Ainge wants that. Great. Ainge wants a high pick.
Mm-hmm. Last news bit we will run. Jeremy, is President Donald J. Trump's office has pardoned 5 former NFL players for crimes ranging from perjury to drug trafficking. On the list would be one former New York Sack Exchange member, Joe Klecko, Nate Newton, former Dallas Cowboy offensive lineman, Jamal Lewis, former Baltimore Raven, and then who was the other one? Billy Cannon and Travis Henry. What did Travis Henry do?
Let me effort that.
Conspiracy to traffic cocaine.
Yeah, I knew it was drugs.
Drug ring that moved the drug between Colorado and Montana. Man, don't be funneling drugs to the mountain states. And then also Cannon, who I think that's a posthumous pardon. He was involved in some counterfeiting in the mid 80s after a series of bad investments and debts left him broke. So
yeah, he passed in 2018.
So more moves to try to endear themselves to the NFL fan base and stuff. I don't, whatever.
Yeah, it does seem pretty mild as far as commutations go. Yeah.
Yeah, he was an insurance scam, which having worked financial crimes in the past, I can't. I hate a thief.
Sure.
Beyond the the person crimes of personal, sexual nature and things against kids and stuff. Second behind those are thieves.
Yes.
Murders. Yeah, there might be a reason to kill people. I don't know. Dog told you. I don't know, but
wow.
I hate a thief. So, but hey, now they're pardoned and their records are expunged. They probably all had served their time or done their, paid their debt, whatever
they had.
Yeah.
It's been a couple decades for some of them.
Yeah, Klecko, man, what a defensive line he and Gastineau formed there at the Jets back in the 80s. Former East Central University Tiger, Mark Gastineau, by the way.
And I think he did a little time at Auburn.
Yeah.
But you look at the New York Sack Exchange.
The New York
What a great nickname for a defense.
That was. The 80s had the great nicknames.
Of course.
OU gets 10 invites to the combine. R. Mason Thomas, Dominic Williams, Kendall Daniels, Grayson Halton, Marvin Jones Jr. So basically, if you were along the defensive line for the OU Sooners last season,
it was a good line.
You're going to be showcasing Deion Burks, Jaron Canick, Heineke, and Robert Spears Jennings, the only two non-linemen I see on there, and then Fabechi Nweyu.
Deion Burks.
Yeah, I said Deion Burks.
Okay.
Sorry. He gets a chance to showcase. So, this draft is going to be an interesting one, Jeremy. And we didn't even mention the Super Bowl. Congratulations to Sam Darnold for willing that team to using his prowess and willing that team to
what an awful game.
Win that Super Bowl.
I made this comparison yesterday.
Yeah.
The Patriots played a late 2010s Big 12 schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow got to the Super Bowl and just got hammered by an SEC team.
Yeah.
Darnold didn't play good. He didn't play bad. He did enough. He didn't turn the ball over. That defense. Wow.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I said that facetiously about Darnold because that's the crackback on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He balled out against the Rams, which in essence
Kenneth Walker
was the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenneth Walker,
the third, K9. I know. Go ahead.
So cool. Hearing Dan talk about him for years on this program, and man, he had a great game.
Probably should have been Heisman winner, really.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't remember who won it that year. It might have been Caleb Williams, possibly, or it was a quarterback. So
stand on what I said.
It was a quarterback. But yeah, he had a great game. I'm sorry, Dan. I still think the kicker should have been the MVP. Which why not? He kicked 5 field goals.
Yeah. It was pretty boring, and really,
if you break a standing record in a Super Bowl and your team wins, you should get the MVP.
Yeah. The funniest part was after New England scored a touchdown, or maybe it was 1914 or maybe it was 1907.
Something like that.
And New England's got the ball after they scored a touchdown and they're driving. They get out of the deep end zone, and Collinsworth, they're hitting some rhythm. And
never mind.
Never mind. Now here's a guy.
Didn't mention Patrick Mahomes one time.
Oh, I bet he was like that kid in that meme where he's just
and he was fully aware that what the odds were that he was going to say it. So he purposely went in there. It's like, I'm not going to say it.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
And we talked about it on here. It's like you had two quarterbacks playing that were so dissimilar from Patrick Mahomes that it was going to take a Herculean effort to shoehorn a Patrick Mahomes comparison in there. And he didn't try. So, God bless him.
No, he didn't. And, as a Chiefs fan, I mean, it had to have been just like otherworldly for you to have so many seasons with your team in the Super Bowl and then just nowhere near.
It's fun watching the game without a dog in the fight.
I said that too, and then it ends up being the worst game I've seen in forever. So
hey, that Seahawks defense, man. 52% of the time they got pressure. They blitzed 8 times the entire game. Their defensive line was working
Yeah, quarterbacks
Patriots
win
line.
when they have the ability to run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been proven time and time again. Dan Narvis says, don't sleep on the Walter Camp board. I agree. All right, we need to get out of here, Jeremy. And man, what an episode it has been. We want to thank John Moore from the DLLS Rangers Weekly podcast for stopping by, and be sure and check out the episode here as we will save it onto the YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe at Law Dog Sports. And this has been the Weekend Big Show. Jeremy, big plans for the weekend?
None.
All right. I've got basketball night, and then I'm done. Probably do taxes over the weekend. So
that's always fun. See how much you owe the state of Oklahoma.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
All right. He's Jeremy Schroeder. I'm Chuck Ramsey of the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show. Be sure and check out the archives. Watch any episode you want on our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive. And sure, don't drink and drive. We'll talk to you real soon.